Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Tia Nofianti, and I'm going to tell you the information that I've got about Emily Dickinson. So, without any further ado, let's start it from her personal data. She is one of America's greatest and most original poets of all the times, with her full name is Emily Elizabeth Dickinson, and she was born on December 10, 1830 in Amherst, Massachusetts, United States, and he was died on May 15, 1886 in the same place, Amherst, Massachusetts, United States. She was born to name parents Edward Dickinson and Emily Norcross. This is her father, Edward Dickinson. He was born on the 1st January 1803. He is the eldest son of Samuel Fowler Dickinson and Lucrettia Dickinson. He was a forceful and prosperous Whig lawyer who served as treasurer of the college and was elected to one term in Congress, and he was died on June 16, 1874. Next is Emily Elizabeth Dickinson, which is Emily Dickinson's mother. She was born on the 3rd of July, 1804, and she is the eldest daughter of 9 children, and she had an extraordinary education for a young woman in the early 19th century. Started from the age 7 until 19, she attended co-educational Monson Academy, which her father had helped to found, and then she went to a New Haven, Connecticut boarding school for one term. Unlike her husband, either her daughter Emily Dickinson, she had little interest in writing. Edward, which is her husband, sent her 70 letters, and she responded with only 24 extant replies. Emily Norcross Dickinson kept an immaculate house and was praised for her cooking, so that she only focused on housekeeping and gardening. And then almost a year after her husband's death, in 1874, Mrs. Dickinson had a stroke that left her paralyzed for the next 7 years until her death on November 14, 1882. Next, Emily had one brother and one sister, which is William Alston Dickinson. He is the older brother, and he was an American lawyer. He was dead in August 16, 1895. And then the second one is Lavinia Norcross Dickinson. She is the youngest sister. She was instrumental in achieving the posthumous publications of her sister's poem, after having discovered the 40-odd manuscript in which Emily had collected her work. She was born on February 28, 1833, and died in August 31, 1899. In the early year, Emily, the second of 3 children, grew up with moderate wealth and deep local and religious attachment. She lived in a mansion constructed for her first 9 years by her paternal grandfather, Samuel Fowler Dickinson, who helped found Amherst College, but went bankrupt shortly before Emily was born. Emily as a girl, her parents and others saw Emily as a fragile and was sometimes kept from school. She attended the co-educational Amherst Academy. A class in botany inspired her to assemble an herbarium containing a large number of preset plants identified by their Latin, and then she experimented with expression in order to free it from conventional restraints. She crafted a new type of persona for the first persons with Walt Whitman. She is widely considered to be one of two leading 19th century. But when she attended the co-educational Amherst Academy, uh, she was recognized by teachers and students alike for her prodigious abilities in composition. She also excelled in other subjects emphasized by school, most notably Latin and science. But when she left home to attend Mount Holyoke Female Seminar in Nerbisot-Hadley, she found that school's institutional tone, uncongenial. Mount Holyoke's strict rules and offensive religious practice, along with her own homesickness and growing rebelliousness, help explain why she didn't return for school yet. This is some quotes that have been written by Emily. First is Valentine's. The exuberantly inventive expressions of affections and esteem she sent to friends of her yard. The second one is, when we were children and she journeyed, she always brought us something. Now would she bring us but herself? What an only gift. This poetry is a dedication for her mother. And the third is, my Pia, my dearest earthly friends, and my separate from little girlhood. This poem is dedicated to her love for Wordsworth, who was married and then graciously left her. Nah, until her age is 20, she had written many poems in letter, and only sent it to her brother Austin or to her kind friends, especially Abiyah Ruth, Jane Humphrey, and Susan Gilbert, which is Susan who was going to marry her brother Austin. Much of her writing, both poetic and epistolary, seems premised on a feeling of abandonment and matching effort to deny, overcome, or reflect on a sense of solitude. Emily, always fastidious, but she began to restrict her social activity in her early 20s. She's staying home from communal functions and cultivating intense epistolary relationship with a reduced number of correspondents. And then, in 1855, she living the large and much loved house, in which she had lived for 15 years. And then the rest of 25-year-old woman and her family moved back to the dwelling associated with her first decade, which is the Dickinson mentions on Main Street in Amherst. She found the returns profoundly disturbing, and when her mother became incapacitated by a mysterious illness that lasted from 1855 to 1859, both daughters were compelled to give more themselves to domestic pursuits. And then Emily died at the age of 55 from a kidney disease called nephritis. During her lifetime, Emily Dickinson wasn't really known as a poet. Only 10 of his poems were published while she was alive. After Dickinson's death, the family found a collection up to 1,700 poems. A literacy critic, Thomas Wentworth, and Mabel Loomis Todd, a friend of Dickinson's family, discovered the brilliance of Emily Dickinson's language. Then they compiled and presents Emily posthumous collections. Unfortunately, they criticized too much by adjusting the choice of words in the original poem to the grammar. As a result, many of the grammar and punctuation marks that were so characteristic of Emily Dickinson that made her famous are also removed. Although this edited manuscript received wide acclaim, the original unedited work was not published until 1955. And today, Emily Dickinson's poetry is widely taught in high school and university programs in the United States. And neither of his poems have titles, so they are identified by number of the first line. One of Dickinson's most famous poems is I heard a fly buzz when I died. So I think that's all what I got about Emily Dickinson. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.